mech warriors, mech commanders, and that other weird part of YouTube. It is I, Project Dark Fox, with Lavender Industries, here for another mini painting video. Today's video is one of House Davion's trademark light mechs, the JVN-10N Javelin. And because it is a Davion mech, we will be painting it in the Davion Guard colors. Let's get painting. Right, so we had primered the Javelin a while ago when we did the Flashman video. Davion Guard colors, they're kind of halfway red. We're going to be painting the whole torso red, as well as the insides of the legs, the front side and back side of the legs, as well as the arms and sides of the torso. Like the very sides of the torso will be white, and most of the arms and the edges of the legs will be blue. So we're probably going to be painting this mech mostly red. I'm just going to go ahead and dump the red here now, and I'm probably going to follow it up with the blue, then I'll touch it up with the white after that, so that I can be a bit more picky when that time comes. The Javelin. This mech has been around a long time. Unlike many of the Star League mechs, even though this has been around since the Age of War, Star League, it has actually survived in its current incarnation. It's a decent little light mech, if a little top heavy, with a pair of SRM-6s, 2 tons of ammunition. That's really about it, but it moves pretty quick, about 97 kph top speed, and it has jump jets. This thing is basically the hammer in a light lance, being able to take advantage of the exploits that the rest of its lance has taken, that the rest of its lance has exploited for him, or something. Ugh. I took 2 takes on the introduction too. English not working. Good.
Yeah, usually he nails it the first time.
It is a little smoky outside.
Yeah, I think we're getting some smoke off those fires up in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it ain't pretty up there. I hope my mother's okay up there. Thinking about you. Alright, we got the red on. I'm going to move on to the blue. I'm going to go ahead and set this down. I hope I don't confuse this for my Cretan mechs later. I may have to pick something other than the sort of white when I start doing Cretan mechs, because their mechs are just red. Legion of Vega, or I don't know. I'll figure it out. Back to the mech here. You can already see a bit of a red, white, and blue effect already, thanks to the primer. Not really trying to hit every surface I can, just the ones that I said I would hit with the various colors. Because the Davion Guards is a interesting paint scheme. Not sounding the greatest either. But the show must go on, and I wanted to paint.
Yes. Paint.
I think the Javelin's been waiting for a paint scheme too, so it's been wanting to be played with for a little while now.
You said it, I didn't.
I know. Still, Javelin's a pretty solid, cheap, light mech. It ain't no spider, but it will definitely get the job done. It's got a lot more punch.
All that red is kind of making me think of the other day when we were playing Racing Transformed.
It was just last night.
Was it last night? Darn.
Alright, we're going to let that dry for a bit. Since I've already got a couple effects of mixing colors here and there. So I'm trying to avoid making some purple here.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies.
As you can also see, I have another mech here I am repainting. This is the Enforcer, another Davion mech, which is why we are doing that one in Davion colors. Now I'm going ahead and putting in the white here. I'm just using the regular old white because I have a feeling it's gonna get a little messed up from all of the washes, so I'm not even bothering. I'm gonna probably dry brush it though, very carefully.
I dare you to paint a spider on it.
I already have a spider mech. Why would I do that? No, really.
I'm just gonna hush at this point.
Shame on you.
I'm not helping. Well, okay, I am helping with the camera, but verbally not so much.
Shame!
Should I get the cone?
Yes, get the cone.
The cone of shame.
This is a bit more delicate than I expected it to be. But I probably shouldn't be surprised. Especially for the type of paint scheme that I decided to choose. I just hope this works out in my favor.
It's all good.
A little bit of a string of something that was in there.
Was it one of my hairs?
No, it wasn't. It was definitely part of the paint.
Oh. Because I was about to say, that's why I pull my hair back for every cooking video.
Good on you. That's also the more sanitary thing to do.
Yes.
Getting in. Already trying to get in details here, and I haven't even
Dry brushed?
dry brushed or washed or anything.
Shame.
That's the price to pay for getting some significant striping in here. Almost done. Oops. I'll fix it later.
For you are Fix-It Felix.
I can fix it.
I'm more of a Wreck-It Ralph.
Alright, and I'll fix a couple of the errors here off camera. But that is the basic scheme right there. And we will get to washing soon. Alright, well, they're looking as good as they can. It could be worse. We're going to start on the wash. I am doing the blues first, and I'm going to work on the reds. I'm kind of using like a sort of detail brush, so I'm not getting it everywhere, because we don't want to paint it all over the miniature this time. We must be careful. But with all the tinkering that I had to do to make sure it gets straight one way or another, I didn't layer on too much paint where I'm going to have issues with detail levels or whatever. Shouldn't take very long, just trying to get it all in. Trying not to miss anything, like I nearly forgot about the front of the arms. Alright, the blues are done. We have enough buffer with the white, so I won't have to worry about any colors bleeding through. We're going to mix our dark red mix now. Just a small amount of black, I mean a small amount, because you never know with some of these black paints how thick they can be. Probably a little bit more red in there. There we go. And then an eyedropper of water. And you want this to the consistency of ink.
Ink, because you're basically tattooing your mech.
Sort of. Back to the Javelin. Whoops, missed it. Not just missed a spot, I just slapped a large portion of the white there.
And don't worry about getting paint on the base because we're going to turf that later, right?
That's correct. We're going to paint it and then we're going to turf it. Alright, that's about as good as it's going to get there. I'm going to work on the Enforcer, and then we'll get to the next phase. Now that those washes have dried, I'm going to go ahead and, I have decided to go ahead and just start washing the white bits with the gray. But again, I'm using a detail brush, so I'm going to be careful with this, since some of my colors have already bled over, which is why I waited for it to dry. So this is going to take a bit of time as well. Whoa, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Nice.
Ooh,
I gave it a 6.
Not good for YouTube. We'll go over the bits that we missed earlier, because it is looking a little blobby right now. Whoopsie. Yeah, this is definitely not one of my best works. Alright. Hello, and welcome back. We had some scheduling and filming issues, so if I look different, we had about a 3-day delay. Don't worry, it will clearly not look like that in the video, because editing. So, we left off having finished all of the washing. We are now going to dry brush with a lighter shade of red in the center first. Makes the armor panels stand out, look nice otherwise. I'm definitely going to have to do a lot of touching up when I'm done with this, though. Because while the Steiner Flashman was a bit of a challenge, this takes a cake for most complex paint job I've ever done. Still, as soon as I'm done touching up, I will make sure this at least looks acceptable for the battlefield, let alone for a collection. I've not been very happy with how splotchy it's turned out, but this is more due to my inability to keep my hand steady. But that will be fixed very carefully.
Looking good to me.
I guess because you're not looking at the miniature very closely like I am.
Well, they say the artist is the biggest critic.
That, and I keep comparing myself too much to the fine artists at Camo Specs. You should really check out their work. I just don't understand why they're not putting out any tutorial videos themselves, hence why I'm doing it at a fraction of their skill level. Of course, they have some methods that are a little better than mine anyway. But we're not talking. Cowards. Alright, I'm going to clean my brush. We're going to move on to the blue. I don't think I am going to dry brush the white. What I'm probably going to do is just reapply it as if I'm just painting it, like I used to do with the striping in the first 2 videos with the King Crab and the Supernova. It's probably what I should have done the first time, or in the beginning.
Paint off.
Yep. I don't think I quite got it clean. There's some purple coming off.
Would you say it's lavender?
No. No. Be nice to somehow plug our own channel like that, right? Hey, how do we do that? Okay, there we go. That's coming off blue. I used a medium blue this time. It is a full cart brand paint, which I frankly have not been very happy with. They kind of separate very easily. but it was the color I had handy. I should have used this color in the original video, not the original video. 3 days later, I still can't talk properly. The Shiner Flashman. I should have used the medium blue then. And now, we dry brush the blue bits.
So what can you tell us about this mech?
Right. Javelin, 30 tons, moves about 97 kilometers an hour. Not particularly fast, but it has a pretty decent wallop for its size in a pair of SRM-6s. Apparently a phrase came about called that was said as sneaky as a javelin because as far as stealth goes, before ECM was a thing again, javelins were pretty good at being sneaky and then just delivering a really critical blow on its opponent, no matter how big it might be. It's fairly well armored, a little top heavy, so it's not very well balanced, but it is a decent mech, and only the Davions really have them in any number. Well, with the exception of salvage, so Koreans probably have a couple here and there, as well as Liao.
Honor the dragon.
Honor the dragon. But yet, we haven't painted a Korean mech yet. So far we have been focusing on the dragon's enemies. But that's okay.
Know thy enemy.
Know thy enemy. That's very right.
Yeah, you can pretty well tell what house we stand with.
I didn't even have to convince the fiance here, my cameraman. She just agreed, hey, yeah, they're right. This is actually looking a lot better than I thought it would. I still need to do some detail work, and of course I'm going to do the striping. Is that a mental typo?
Ah.
And then, well, yeah, I'll just get right on that. Get a little white here. It's just like the Flashman video. You are learning from my lessons. And I want to be pretty careful with this.
So is there any particular reason that the house chose these colors for its mech?
I'm not sure why House Davion uses these colors for the Davion Guards. I really don't know. It is kind of odd. That's actually looking a lot better. Needed this really badly. Normally I'd say plan ahead for what you're doing, but in this kind of case, this was like no plan survives first contact with the enemy. For how many things did go wrong during this painting video. This is going to look a little on the splotchy side in the white bits, but I'm basically doing the best I can.
Coming out good to me.
Now, remember the part where in previous videos where I said that you should all those steps there to avoid making a thing look like one big blob instead of having it come out nice and detailed? Well, it's not quite going to look that good on the white bits, that's for sure.
And nothing is perfect, not even my raspberry cheesecake cookies.
You'll see in a future video, they did come out perfectly. They really did. Well, I'm going to touch it up a little bit here. There is a couple spots where I dabbed a couple pieces of white in the red and some blue in the red here. And I'll get right on that. And we're back. I have dry brushed and then striped both of the minis. I think that my Javelin has dried by now, so I'm going to start working on that again. I am going to start detailing here. We have some exposed missile ports here, so I'm going to go ahead and gray those out. So I don't like using our metallic silver for some reason. Probably because it's thin, it's crappy, and yeah. And there's also some jump jets on the back. Now it does have a cockpit, but it's in a red area, so I can't use the red canopy as before. Now, Camo Specs would recommend that you go ahead and use green. I don't know if that's going to look good personally because it also has lots of splashes of blue, so I'm going to go ahead and just do black. And then jewel it towards white, of course. It's looking a little less splotchy than before, which is good. Still not the greatest, but you know, at this phase, it's been taking so long. I don't care. Whoa! Just set you down and get some black out. Probably lose a lot of paint just from it drying off the nozzle like that. Garbage day! If you can hear that sound, I think the dumpsters are being emptied. I'm gonna knock you down a bit here. It's got a lot of bracing on it and it's really, really small, so I'm just gonna do like one big visor and call it good. And then find and start dotting the missile ports. Oops. And then to the back for the jump jet ports. Ah. Nyeh.
Nyeh.
Nyeh. Excuse us while we make funny noises. At your expense.
You know, I keep hearing the garbage truck and watching you paint this mech, and I keep thinking of Wreck-Gar from Transformers.
Lighter shade, lighter shade.
Tooling the cockpit.
Yep. And a smaller space of it.
Or, excuse me, tooling the cockpit canopy, rather.
Right.
My bad.
It's alright. Clean my brush here because I'm getting lighter and lighter here.
Excuse me.
You're excused. And now for the white dots. It looks alright. It's still not looking the greatest, but I'm doing the best with what I've got.
Looks excellent.
Now I'm going to touch it up a little bit more, so we'll be right back. You know what time it is.
Turfing time.
Yep. It's probably a bit much for one mech, but it's probably going to do for two. So, like before, we paint our base. Let's get a nice broad brush here. This is the exact same one I use for dry brushing, but whatever. We ain't looking for fancy here. Because the dry brushing, well, not the dry brushing, the turfing is going to cover up most of those green mistakes anyway. Get it in there, nice and wet.
It looks like a puddle of Ecto Cooler.
Oh, don't say that. I miss that drink so much.
No.
You too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're selling it now at an exorbitant price. Like, unnecessarily so.
Yeah. Still tempting, though.
It is. Yeah, I think they sell it in the cans at this time and not the actual drink boxes, which is interesting. And of course, they are selling it again because, at least they did for a period of time, to celebrate the new Ghostbusters movie that had come out. Now, I've heard some terrible things, but I don't know, I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to say anything else beyond that.
Just pack that turf in.
Mm-hmm. There's a little spot here I need to get. And then, normally I get the, I paint the hex base net, normally I paint the hex base right before turfing it, but I failed to do that because I realized this thing has been primed. So once that dries, I'm going to go ahead and paint that. paint the base. I probably won't have it filmed because we're running a little late anyway. And there you have it. Federated Suns Davion Guard Javelin.
Sporkin' sweet.
A nice target for the Draconis Combine. Anyway, if you liked this video, like and subscribe. And if you don't like this video, please comment and tell me why. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. If you did not like this video, please comment, tell me why. We're always reading our comments. We're getting a little lonely, but we're always learning, trying to learn how to do this stuff better. And I'll take any advice and suggestions you have. Thank you for watching. You have a good night, Mech Warriors.